Die someday. Live forever. Die someday. Live forever. Die someday. Welcome to episode the 4th of Ask Mortician. First question, everyone from everywhere has asked, how do you become a mortician? When a girl and death love each other very, very much. Honey, who told you that's how morticians are made? To be a mortician, in the very traditional sense of the word, you probably have to go to mortuary science college. Before you run out and give over your life to death, there are some things to consider. First, find out if you're academically ready for mortuary science college. Do you remember Michelle Bombshell McGee of publicly home-wrecking Sandra Bullock's marriage fame? I went to mortuary college with her. Do you see her in this picture? No? You don't see her there? That's because she dropped out after 2 weeks because it's hard. You have to study anatomy, pathology, embalming, microbiology, mortuary law, statutes, on and on and on. And it's not like medical school hard, but it's also not just like, wee, bodies! Second, are you emotionally ready for the death industry? And a really good way to figure that out is to get a job first that doesn't require a license or school or lots of money or your soul. You can be a removal van driver, a crematory operator, a funeral arranger, an apprentice embalmer, a funeral attendant, the flower guy, a gravedigger. A huge amount of people who graduate from mortuary college will leave the industry in the first 5 years because they're like, oh, this job is really stressful and hard. Never mind. Third, keep in mind that you don't have to be a traditional mortician to work in the death industry. I went to mortuary science college, but I'm not a traditional mortician. I work in cremation, natural burial, home funerals, none of which are really covered in mortuary science college. If you're interested in working in the alternative death industry, especially if you're young and energetic and smart, please consider that. Question 2, I have always joked about having my cremated remains baked into a chocolate cake. Is this even possible? This question is from Chocolate Powder, who apparently is very into chocolate. This is a permit for disposition of cremated remains from Los Angeles County, and weirdly, getting eaten is not on here. No, not one of the options. There is a tribe in the Amazon called the Yanomamo that when their fellow tribesmen, women, people die, they put their ashes into a broth and share it with each other like an aperitif. The idea is that by ingesting the ashes, they're taking the dead into themselves and they'll always be a part of each other. So it's not completely far-fetched. But your actual question was, can you bake cremated remains into a chocolate cake? Is it possible? The answer? Only one way to find out, baby. Oh no, she didn't! Before you get all in a tizzy, these are not real human cremated remains. They are foamains, created in my evil laboratory using fire ash and clay and other things to mimic the texture of cremated remains for this experiment. As a recipe note, the human body produces about 6 to 8 pounds of cremated remains, which is way too much for one cake. So for the purposes of this recipe, we will be using a cup. Funfetti! Don't mind if I do. Okay, it's been about an hour, and here is our completed cremated remains chocolate cake. Let's try a piece, shall we? Here we go. I'm really gonna eat this. It's really grainy. Oh, dude, no. Can you hear it crunching when I talk? So the answer appears to be that you technically can bake your cremated remains into a chocolate cake. I mean, look, it looks like a chocolate cake. But if you love your family and friends that you've left behind, don't make them do that if you want them to enjoy the chocolate cake, because it's kind of gross. My friends and I used to call Michelle McGee Tat Face. which I know is terrible, and I'm sure she has a very beautiful Buddha soul. But it was the first week, and we didn't know anyone's names, and she had tattoos all over her face. What would you have done? Don't judge me.